My video for May the 14th, 2019 is video number 3085. The title is Napoleon Hill's Interview with the Devil. Wow. It was over 3.5 hours, and I listened to the whole thing. Napoleon Hill Mania, quote, produced the audio version. I rarely ever listen to anything that long, but having read some of his writings in the past, I took the time. Some of the examples of successes he used, people like Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller, did not resonate at all with me. That is also true of other parts. Still, I hung in there to the end. Some of the qualities he cited for success are true, no matter whether they are used for good or evil. In this video, I will not even attempt to rehash the many points that were made, although I do recommend it as food for thought. I'll even provide the link. Anyway, he said back then that 98% of humanity does not think for itself, merely following herd instinct. It was written prior to World War II, 1938. Yet much of it is still relevant now. For example, fear is one of the primary tools used to keep people enslaved. It is obvious to me and most thinking people that we live in an age of fear. Our fearfulness takes us on an ego trip that divides us into warring camps where there is no meaningful communication. Without that, we will never transcend the hell on earth that has been created. I have hesitated even recording this video. I'm recording it much later in the day than I normally do. And in fact, I'm going to start putting my videos up early in the morning, like just after midnight every day. I think that's my current thought. Whether that actually materializes in the way I do it, I don't know. I'm tired of having to wake up every day at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and between 3:30 and 4 o'clock in the morning or earlier to record the video. So I'm going to try to shift how I do my sleeping so that I can maybe get better sleep. Will that happen? I don't know. In any case, this was a fascinating listen. I would not, had I not had some conscious respect for Napoleon Hill in the past, I would not have taken time to even listen to this. And he wrote lots of books, but he cites as some of his examples Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller. And those are Illuminati people. And the thrust of the whole thing, Think and Grow Rich was one of his books, Napoleon Hill I'm talking about now. It's about money. And for me, still, the money system is a means of enslaving us and keeping us in lack consciousness. Because no matter how much people have, they never seem to think they have enough. And I mean, I know people personally that if I had as much money, if I was bringing in as much income as they are bringing in, I would consider myself in the lap of luxury, even though, you know, it's minuscule compared to some of the people like the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and the Illuminati so-called elite. Money, again, like I've said in many other videos, was created as a tool of enslavement where the slaves did not know they were enslaved. Because after all, we're paying them for what they do. But the they that are paying them are some elite class that considers itself superior to the rest of the people, population, whatever. And we see the result of that. And it's a war of egos against each other, constantly fighting over who's going to be the one that gets the marbles. And it's insane. Because the marbles, in this case, money, is, if you haven't been paying attention, is just pieces of paper and pieces of metal that are made to shine and given a number value to be used to barter and trade. And in rural areas a long time ago, people just traded. If somebody had a lot of a particular kind of vegetable and they wanted some meat, well, they traded some of their vegetables for some of the meat from another farmer, and it was a rural setting, and that was easy to do. In an urban setting, it becomes, of course, much more difficult. We have stores and things like that. So getting out of this system is not easy. Now, I have friends that have been telling me for a long time now, several years at least, that we're going to have a shift where everything has to be, all the money has to be asset backed, and it's going to be put into the hands of visionaries like myself, that we're going to be able to help people. And there's actually healing beds and other technologies that have been withheld that's going to enable us to restore some of the faculties in our body so that we are healthier and able to achieve things that have been more of a challenge for us because of the limitations that have been imposed on us, even in our physical nature. But the imposition of the monetary system on us, where most of the world, I mean, forget the 98%. I mean, the people that control 50% of the wealth, as I've said in other videos, is probably a number of under 1,000 for sure. I mean, it's not a big amount of people. And 1% probably controls over 99% of the world's wealth. This is an unfair system. It lacks justice. It lacks credibility in the sense that how could anybody believe that this is a system that's good for anybody? And yet most of us have bought into the bill of goods that's been sold to us, that this is the way it's supposed to be. It's fair competition. No, it's not fair competition. And I personally, even though I've recommended reading Napoleon Hill's book, because it does help you see from other perspectives. And having an interview with the devil is a cunning way of presenting the malevolent use of money and of other factors that ultimately lead to the majority of us living lives that virtually have no meaning. And one of the things that I do agree with is that reason most of us have are unable to achieve our goals is because we don't even have goals. We immediately just find jobs that can produce the income that we need for basic survival. And that's a slave mentality. That's not a mentality of somebody that wants to bring positive change to the world. And I have known lots of people that want to bring positive change to the world, but the way to do it is not the accumulation of wealth, as long as the same charlatans continue to control the monetary system and control who has and doesn't have wealth. There are many other avenues that I could go off on tangents, but I don't know that I'm going to, at least not at this time, make another video right away relating to Napoleon Hill's writings. But I encourage you to open your mind and take the time to listen. Again, I'll post the link, and I thank you for listening to this. Namaste.